Hey guys, it's me and I have a story for you. It's called He Was There the Day We Moved In. Story by Rhoda Levine. Pictures by Edward Gory. He was there from the day we moved in. He was sitting there in the garden. I wonder if he comes with the yard, my brother Ogden asked as we looked through the window. No one mentioned him when we bought the house, my father replied in a puzzled voice. I wonder what he wants. I think he's waiting for something, I said. He certainly did look like he was waiting for something. We all agreed. He's waiting for me, my brother Ogden shouted suddenly, running through the kitchen into the backyard. My brother Ogden is 4. I'm sure he's waiting for all of us, my mother insisted, as we followed in Ogden's footsteps. There's the little brother running to see this guy right here. We stood there in front of him. He seemed neither pleased nor disappointed to see us. Maybe he's waiting for me to jump up and down, my brother Ogden suggested, jumping up and down. Maybe he wants me to do a somersault. Ogden had just learned to somersault. I know, breathlessly Ogden guessed again. He wants to see me skip on 2 feet. I think, said my mother, placing a quieting and comforting hand on Ogden, he's waiting for something to eat. My mother is a very practical woman. I myself did not feel that that was the answer, but I watched my mother bring a bowl of milk, a raw hamburger, and a soup bone which she put down in front of him. Ogden ran to get a sticky lollipop. It was green. But after all, Ogden is only 4. Well, he looked at everything. He gave everything a try except for the lollipop, and I hate green myself. Green's not my favorite color of lollipop either. Maybe you like it. There he is. He's waiting again. He's waiting for something else. What's he waiting for? Ogden was pretty troubled. I'm sure he's waiting to get to know us, my mother said as she let us indoors. He just needs to think about us overnight. Well, that night I certainly thought a lot about him. Of course, I didn't do anything silly like running to the window in my bare feet to see if he was still there. Ogden did that. Here's Ogden running in his bare feet to see if he's still there. And there he is. Still there. Outside of the house. He was there the next morning. It was raining, but he didn't seem to notice. My mother smiled. I'm sure he's waiting to be invited in, she decided. She could never stand to see anyone sitting in the rain. Well, right away Ogden ran out to him. My mother says come on in the house, so come on. Nothing happened, so Ogden ran a line of cornflakes from the door to the dog. Come on, please, he added quietly. But he just sat there, his fur dripping, waiting, and there's Ogden trying to give him some cornflakes to lure him into the house. What do you think he's waiting for? I wonder. He even tried a box of crayons and a calendar. There's my doggy barking. Ogden thought he might want to be talked to. Do you know, my brother spent a whole afternoon just sitting and talking to him? A whole afternoon, that's a pretty long time. Ogden told me once that he was sure he was waiting for a new toy truck. I really thought that Ogden was waiting for that himself. There he is talking to him. Blah, 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 blah. And there he is, telling his brother that he thinks he wants a truck. When nothing worked, Ogden began to calm down. Sometimes he didn't talk about him or visit him at all. Well, it's hard to stay interested in someone who's not interested in you. I don't care how old you are. I, however, never forgot about him and what he might be waiting for. I never stopped thinking about it, not even when I was asleep, not even when I was playing ball, not even when I was reading. Well, one night, I guess I was thinking harder than usual. I had been studying him as he sat in the moonlight with his eyes closed. Listen, I thought, you've got food, friends, a home. What is it you really want? Well, suddenly I knew just like that. He wanted a name. He was waiting for a name. Do you think that's what he wants? Do you think that, Daddy Love Health and Mama Bunny? I wonder. The next morning I started a list. I wrote down every name I had ever heard. I looked for names in all the books we owned. I even looked on trucks and posters. Not that I intended to call him Matt's Machine Shop or Acme Wrecking or anything like that. I just wanted to get up a good store of possibilities. Naming a grown-up dog is not like naming a baby, you know. You have to find the exact one that suits him, the one that he's been waiting for. You can't jump into a name just like that. By dinner time, I had the longest list I'd ever seen, and very interesting too, with the best names traced over in fountain pen. "What are you drawing?" Ogden asked. My brother Ogden can't read. "I'm not drawing," I said. "I'm writing." That's when I made my big mistake. I told Ogden what I was writing and why. Ogden's eyes grew big and wide when I told him. Sometimes he thinks I'm pretty smart. His eyes got so wide that I didn't notice he was backing up as I talked to him. Where's Ogden going? Suddenly he was gone. He was running toward the backyard yelling, I know his name!" He was in the yard before I could stop him. Sometimes 4-year-olds can run faster than anyone. "Wait," I cried, "you got to think before—" But I guess he just couldn't stop. I was sort of glad my parents were doing the dishes so they didn't have to see what happened. Ogden ran right up to him, stopped short, and pointed at his nose. "Your name!" Ogden was breathless. "Your name! I know your name! It's—" He lifted up his ear and whispered into it. Psst, psst, psst. Then he stepped back. I have never seen Ogden look so proud and happy. We didn't breathe for a whole minute. That dog just blinked. Then slowly he looked up with sad and patient eyes. He blinked again. Then he was giving it a second thought. Then he stood up, shook himself, and began to walk, like he was old and tired, toward the end of the garden. Well, when Ogden told me the name he whispered, I must say that I would have walked away too. Well, who ever heard of naming a dog Marilyn, even if it is the name of the girl who used to live next door? I thought Ogden was pretty dumb, but I didn't tell him. He looked so sad, standing there. I mean, really sad. I guess it was the way that Ogden looked that made me do it. Suddenly, I took off after that dog. I got right in front of him and started talking. He kept padding along. "Listen," I said, "I've got a list of possible names you haven't heard yet, names like Bouncer, Arthur, George, and Garson." He kept walking. He blinked. "Oh, I know they might not be the right names," I added quickly, "but I've got others, French names, names of places, adjectives, and everything." "Well, you've just got to give me a chance." He shook himself. Listen, my father told me, that dog is man's best friend. Well, friends don't walk out on people because of one bad guess. Friends give people a second chance, you know? I think that's what got him. He blinked again, and then he sat down. Well, he's still sitting and waiting. He's closer to the garden edge, but he's still there. Ogden hugs him a lot, though he doesn't say much to him. You know, I think we're bound to find the right name sooner or later. I myself am still working on the whole thing. He is waiting. I am thinking, we're both trying. And like my mother always says, that's about the best anyone can do. And that, my friends, is called He Was There from the Day We Moved In. And the end of the book is not like usual books. It kind of ends with a mystery. We could try and think about what it might be, but we really won't know where that dog came from and why he's there and what he's waiting for. But it's fun to wonder, and it's always good to try. He had a list of names. What would you have named that dog? Something to think about. All right, guys. Mama Bunny and Daddy Ruff Ruff, say goodbye. Goodbye.